What if you had $850 million and not a single person in your life knew it? No mansion tours, no flashy cars, no magazine covers, just silence and complete control. Today, we're stepping into the life of a silent millionaire, someone who built a fortune most people will never see and chose deliberately to keep it that way. Here's what that life actually looks like. 1. You wake up at 5:47 a.m. No alarm. Your body just knows. There's no assistant standing outside your door, no staff hovering, just quiet. The blinds are still closed. The house, worth more than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes, is silent. You don't check your phone first, you check your breath. Because the first rule of being a silent millionaire is that nothing about your morning should look like $850 million. 2. From the road, it looks like any other house. A little bigger, maybe. A little better kept. Nobody slows down to take a photo, that's the design. Real wealth doesn't announce itself at the property line. It hides behind hedges, behind ordinary brick, behind a mailbox with a name nobody recognizes. The real house, the one with the underground wing, the vault, the private theatre, that one doesn't exist to your neighbours. 3. You drive a car that's 11 years old. It runs fine. It draws zero attention. In the garage behind it, there's another car, one most people would recognise instantly. It hasn't left that garage in 8 months. Because attention is the one currency you refuse to spend. 4. Before the world wakes up, you check the numbers. Not obsessively, just enough. A logistics company in Ohio, a stake in a data center outside Dallas, 41 apartment buildings held under an LLC nobody's ever heard of. None of it has your name on it. None of it needs to. 5. 3 people know the full picture. Your attorney, your accountant, and the woman who built the trust structure that makes your name legally invisible from most of what you own. They've never spoken to a journalist. Never will. Loyalty in this world is worth more than any signature. 6. You still push your own cart through the grocery store. Nobody looks twice. You pay with a card that doesn't say anything about what's behind it. This is the part people never understand. The richest person in the room is often the one nobody notices at all. 7. Someone at the register asks what you do for work. You say consulting. It's not a lie. It's just not the whole truth. The whole truth would change how they look at you, and you've learned that changes everything else too. 8. Past the guest bathroom, there's a door that looks like a bookshelf. Behind it, the real house. A private study. A wall of first editions. A screen that mirrors every portfolio you hold. This room has never been photographed. It never will be. 9. Downstairs, there's a cellar most guests never see. Bottles older than your grandparents. Not for showing off, for quiet mornings alone thinking about decisions worth more than the wine itself. 10. At dinner, your kids talk about school, about friends. They know you're comfortable. They don't know the number, not yet. Because money, given too early and too loudly, doesn't build character, it erodes it. You're still deciding when or if they'll ever need to know the whole truth. 11. Your college roommate still thinks you run a few small businesses. He's never asked for a loan. Never will, because he doesn't know there's anything to ask for. The friendships that survived silence are the only ons you fully trust. 12. A warehouse network moving freight nobody thinks about. A slice of the infrastructure that runs the internet you're using right now. Farmland leased quietly to families who've worked it for generations. None of it wears your name. All of it answers to you. 13. 14 properties. 3 states. 1 country. You've never even visited yourself. You bought it through a fund on a recommendation and never needed to see it to trust the numbers. Real wealth isn't a mansion. It's the properties too boring to ever make the news. 14, twice a year, you fly private. Not for comfort, for control. No manifest with your name searchable. No paparazzi at a commercial gate. It isn't about luxury. It's about staying a ghost. 15, 6 years ago, you funded a pediatric wing. The plaque says one word, anonymous. You've never visited. You don't need credit. You needed to know it existed. That's the difference between generosity and performance. 16, 40% in index funds nobody talks about at dinner parties. 20 in private equity you can't touch for a decade. The rest spread across real assets, land, infrastructure, a small stake in 3 companies you'll never publicly claim. Boring, diversified, built to survive you. 17, a trust holds the trust that holds the company that holds the asset. 4 layers between your name and anything a stranger could search. It cost more to build than most people's homes. It was worth every dollar because privacy, at this level, is a form of security. 18, last year a reporter got close. A leaked filing, a curious name. Your attorney made 2 calls. The story died before it was written. You didn't panic. You'd planned for this exact moment for 15 years. 19 years ago, an old man who'd built and hidden 3 fortunes told you something you never forgot. The moment people know your number, they stop seeing you, they only see it. You believed him, you still do. 20, nobody claps for compounding. There's no applause for a decade of doing nothing dramatic. But that's exactly how $40 million quietly becomes $850 million. Patience, invisible to everyone watching for fireworks. 21, you allow yourself exactly 1 indulgence, tailoring. Nobody clocks a $6,000 suit unless they know what to look for. It fits like nothing else. It says nothing to anyone. That's exactly the point. 22, even when you fly commercial, you fly economy plus. Never first class. First class gets remembered. Row 14 does not. Invisibility, it turns out, takes more effort than most billionaires are willing to give. 23, a waitress mentioned her son needed surgery. You left with the check and an envelope she didn't open until you were gone. She'll never know your name. She doesn't need to. 24, once, a company you quietly controlled almost collapsed. 300 jobs on the line. You restructured it in 6 weeks, from a spare bedroom, without a single press release. Nobody clapped. The lights just stayed on. 25 someday, your children will inherit more than money. They'll inherit the discipline of silence, the idea that showing restraint is its own form of wealth. You're teaching them slowly in small lessons long before the number ever gets mentioned. 26, you once knew a man who made his fortune loudly. Magazine covers, custom cars. Within a decade, lawsuits, extortion attempts, a kidnapping scare that cost him more than the fortune he flaunted. You learned from his mistakes without ever having to make them yourself. 27, every morning starts the same. Coffee, numbers, silence. It isn't boring, it's chosen. The predictability is the reward for everything. Invisible, you've built underneath it. 28, people assume wealth means being seen, recognized, celebrated. But real freedom is walking through a crowd and belonging to no one's story but your own. That's the luxury nobody sells you because it can't be bought with visibility, only with its absence. 29, the structures you've built won't need you to explain them when you're gone. The trust continues, the businesses continue. Your name stays exactly where you've always kept it, nowhere anyone would think to look. 30, $850 million. Nobody knows, not the neighbors, not the stranger at the grocery store, not even most of your family. And somehow, that's exactly how you sleep so well at night, because the quietest life is often the richest one, in every sense of the word. If you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe for more.